Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on a funeral elegy. Today we're going to take a look at lines 457 to 478. So there's been a lot of talk recently in the recent lines about how Sir William Peter was a great man, but he died badly, but that shouldn't be held against him because, even the saints made it to heaven even though they lived really bad lives and this sort of thing. And yesterday it was getting into people who try too hard tend to fall even farther instead of necessarily making it to heaven. If you just climb on the backs of other people to try to reach a certain status or position or things like that, you may end up actually down below instead. And line 457 says, "Now men who in lower region live, exempt from danger of authority, have fittest times in reason's rules to thrive, not vexed with envy of priority. And those are much more noble in the mind than many that have nobleness by kind. Birth, blood, and ancestors are none of ours, nor can we make a proper challenge to them. But virtues and perfections in our powers proceed most truly from us, if we do them. Respective titles or a gracious style, with all what men in eminence possess, are, without ornaments to praise them, vile. The beauty of the mind is nobleness, and such as have that beauty well deserve eternal characters, that after death remembrance of their worth we may preserve, so that their glory die not with their breath. Else, what else avails it in a goodly strife upon this face of earth here to contend? The good to exceed, the wicked in their life, should both be obscured in their end." Continuation on a theme, as has been a theme throughout this entire poem. So what he's saying is that people who live a simpler life are better off and often more noble. And you might be born into the right family, have the right titles, things like that, but all of that means nothing if you're not actually a good person. And nobleness of the mind, he keeps talking about nobleness of the mind and how that creates beauty. And people who have that nobleness, that beauty, are the people who deserve to be remembered. And here is where he gets into a little bit of the sort of weirdness about it. It's like your after death reward. There needs to be some sort of after death reward, because otherwise people who live well and people who don't are going to be treated equally in the afterlife. And what fun is that? Like, how is that fair? So I do think that it's interesting that even though he's saying, living a humble life is going to lead you down a better path, there's still that focus on sort of the reward system of somebody's watching and you're either going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell, depending on how you live. The reasoning for that being there has to be a reason to be good. So this is not necessarily a poem for atheists or agnostics. This is fairly Judeo-Christian based in its philosophy, I'm venturing to presume. But yeah, it's there has to be some reason to live a good life, and the good afterlife has to be that reason. And if you suffer a lot but are a good person, the joy of being able to get there is what makes it all worth it, I guess. So yeah, nice and cheery. I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.